There's a row over Buhari's refusal to assent to the electoral amendment bill, which would allow electronic voting and transmission of results, as well as direct primary elections to choose the party's candidates instead of conferences of delegates mostly influenced by state governors. Buhari's refusal has thrown the 2023 elections and the Senate resumption next week into a sharper focus. Already, several political figures have declared their intention to run, including APC heavyweight Bola Tinubu and the governor of Ebonyi State, Dave Umahi. So who will emerge as the front-runner and presidential candidate of the ruling party, and how will the Senate react to Buhari's amendment bill veto? And to answer these questions and several others, I have in the studio the spokesperson for the Nigerian Senate, Senator Ajibola Bashiru. Good to meet with you again, distinguished Senator Ajibola. As the Senate prepares to resume, can you just give us a focus of what Nigerians should be looking up to in 2022 generally, especially with the focus on the electoral bill and then, of course, the implementation of the PIA, which was assented last year, but which major focus will be from this year?
Yeah, good afternoon and Happy New Year. I think the Senate and the National Assembly will be finalizing work on the outstanding as regards the Electoral Act, and I think it will be done within the necessary timeline to ensure that the law is used and for the purpose of the 2023 election. And the area of controversy has been narrowed down, and that is as regards section relating to the mode of nomination of candidates. So if you have about 185 section bill and the issue is just about a section, then the option will be for the National Assembly to look at the reasons for the objection by Mr. President and see whether those objections could be accommodated so that the necessary section could be amended and then pass again on to Mr. President for assent. The other will be to possibly see whether the two-third majority of the two chambers of the National Assembly would decide to still pass the bill as it is, and then that will not require the assent of the President. But either of these options will have to await consultation and the necessary intervention of stakeholders in the National Assembly and, of course, our constituents too in that regard. Then, aside the Electoral Act, the work on the constitutional amendment is very
which is very critical. A lot of Nigerians have been awaiting the constitutional
I believe that the work had reached an advanced stage because the Senate had is about two retreats on the amendment, and the bills had been streamlined. So I think we are at the stage whereby we'll have a joint retreat of the two chamber, and then come up with a final recommendations for the consideration of the Committee of the Whole House, upon which a vote will be taken depending on the kind of amendment. You know, there are two kinds of amendment. Normal kind of amendment will only require two-thirds of the member. Then if it relates to certain fundamentals, for instance, Chapter 4 of the Constitution, it will require 4/5, as well as issue of a creation of state. So we're hopeful that this year we'll be able to also finalize work on the constitutional amendment. On the PIA, good enough, Mr. President has started implementation. I think about a week ago, the President has also inaugurated the board of the NNPC. So we believe that the necessary gain from the passage of that bill will begin to get consummated in this year.
And some of the controversies that arose last year that you would have to deal with is on the issue of presenting the National Assembly that critically examines the request of the executive when it has to do with loans. How do you intend to deal with that?
I don't know what you mean by critically examine. Is your question presumed that we have not been critical in examination?
A lot of Nigerians say that based on the Senate President's comment that whatever comes into the National Assembly, that there's every assurance that it will go out.
I don't think that has been correct. If that is the case, the question you ask yourself, when the Budget Appropriation Act was passed, you can see that Mr. President expressed certain misgivings or certain reservations. If I didn't mean that what had been brought by the President is what had been assented, has been approved hook, line, and sinker, such objection will not have arisen.
But so Nigerians say when it has to do with
I don't like some. I have a problem. You say certain individuals, don't say Nigerians. Even when you talk Nigerians, you start as if those of us in National Assembly are not Nigerians. We are not just ordinary Nigerians. We're elected. You say certain opinion because you have not
certain opinion leaders.
Yes, the opinion is an opinion, and that is why under the Constitution, everybody has his own opinion. But your opinion does not necessarily mean that they enjoy exactitude or they enjoy, correctness. So what we are saying
widely held belief that
you have not conducted opinion survey in a democracy for you to say an opinion is widely known. It's either you have conducted a referendum or a plebiscite if it's a constitutional issue. So it's in Nigeria we make fallacy of generalization. Yes, I've had such opinion, but have anybody come, for instance, to my constituency to ask from the various interest group, conduct scientific research to be able to know whether the opinion is
well, that's why we have the mass media where elected representatives like you will hear what the people are saying, expressing themselves. Even the executive has come out to explain why it just has to take these loans. And that's why Nigerians are saying that the National Assembly should be more circumspect in approving the loans of the executive.
I said your assumption is wrong. We have been very circumspect. For every item of loan that had been approved by the National Assembly, we are ensured that we have interface with the necessary agency for purpose of implementation and scrutiny of the purpose that have been done. There is no loan that have been taken that there is no proper scrutiny. And there are also, even at the executive level, proper safeguard in the law. There is debt management office law, there is the fiscal responsibility commission law, and of course we have a committee of the National Assembly, the national interface. So you see, you cannot take opinion of minority people, opinion of people who are in the opposition political party to represent the opinion of the majority. And you see, National Assembly is a bipartisan National Assembly. We have in the National Assembly sizable number of the opposition party, and they all agree to taking those loans. In fact, the chairman of the committee of the Senate on the foreign and local is a member of the PDP.
I have had an opportunity to actually ask him some of those questions, but let's go on to other critical issues now, and it has to do with the issue of state creation. That will be one of the very key requests that Nigerians are seeking, but we have seen political leaders saying that Nigerians should just do away with the idea of requesting for state creation. Do you think that this National Assembly will approve any state creation?
You see, in that regard, I need to be careful as to what opinion I express here. If the opinion is being sought from me as spokesperson of the Senate, I will say I will not volunteer any opinion, because until such issues are debated at the National Assembly, I cannot volunteer that this position of the National Assembly. But asking for me as Senator Ajibola Bashiru representing Osun Central Senatorial District, I know that it will be an uphill task to get the necessary threshold constitutionally required to create a new state. And also considering the fact that personally, I believe that even the existing state structure is unwieldy and capable of galvanizing development. I'm a believer that we need to rethink about this type of structure and rethink by way of regionalism. So when you are asking from a regionalist about creation of an national state, and I think you will know that I will have my opinion that will negate it. But I will not say this because some of our members of the National Assembly feel strongly. For instance, some in the eastern part of the country feel that on the basis of parity, at least an additional state should be created from the east. And some other people in the minorities also believe that. So, but in the society of 120 million people, you are going to have different opinion. But whether such state will be created will have to pass through Section 8 of the Constitution. And I believe that the rigorous provisions and the threshold in that provision may well make it to be dead letter for us to be able to ensure that we create a state.
One of the controversial issues raised by President Buhari during his recent interview is that Nigeria is not ready for state police. I know you come from the Southwest, and the Southwest has been asking for true federalism, and one of the key components of that is allowing for states to own their own police.
In fact, with respect to Mr.
President, do you subscribe to what Buhari said?
Mr. President, I am in total disagreement with Mr. President on the issue of state police. In fact, I have a bill that I've initiated since 2000 on the need to create state police. So if you're asking me what my opinion, of course my opinion is that there's a need for state police. And it's unfortunate that we still look at issue of security from the issue of political position. You cannot be having situation of fragile breakdown of law and order, and then you still want to use the same architecture. At the best of scenario, you need to decentralize the Nigerian police along regional or zonal line with operational autonomy and budgetary autonomy. The Nigerian police, as of today, we have 5,556 police formations, either area command, police stations, divisional police stations in Nigeria. The question you ask yourself is that would this suffice for a country of this landmass, with this country of diverse people and a country of this huge population? Yes, there are issues about possibility of abuse of state police, but the truth is this: the tendency to abuse state power is not new. It's not new today. As far back as I think 1432, I think in the case of Entic and Carrington, where rule of law was established, and other cases like Shroud and Bradbury, it has always been a tension between liberty of the people and coercive authority of the state.
Very interesting. When you saw a police sent from Abuja to actually go to Lagos and enforce a Supreme Court order, one of the officers there confronting the governor of Lagos State, and the Lagos State giving orders that were not being obeyed, with the Southwest governor's position, that this brings to the fore the idea of state policing. What came to your mind?
I think that's even you are looking at it from even an elitist perspective. That power tussle between the federal government and the state government. I look at it from the fact that the primary purpose of governance is security. It is even after security that you talk about welfare. So we should look at it that we need a security architecture that is able to address challenges. The question you ask is, where is relevant is this?
Okay,
if you
very
today,
quickly, because we have to go on a short break.
If today you have even somebody stealing a goat, the matter may end up at the IG office at Lucede House in Abuja. It's quite unfortunate. Very
interesting submission indeed. You're still watching the Arise interview. Plenty more still ahead as we continue our chat with the spokesperson of the Nigerian Senate, including the local politics in Osun State ahead of the governorship polls in July. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Arise interview. My guest today is Senator Ajibola Bashiru, the spokesman of the Nigerian Senate. He also represents the senatorial district in Osun Central and was once the Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice in Osun State. So he's very familiar with the political scene in the southwestern state, which will head to the polls this year to pick a new governor. Incumbent APC Governor Gboyega Oyetola is eligible for re-election and has announced his candidacy. But there has been a rift within the APC in the state, and a reconciliation committee has been sent to settle Governor Oyetola, his predecessor, Rauf Aregbesola, who's now a minister, and chieftains of the party like former Deputy Speaker of the House of Reps, Yusuf Lasun, and many others. Well, I still have in the studio Senator Bashiru here. Let's go to Osun State local politics. I mean, you were at the APC headquarters where you led a group of people you termed the Friends of Governor Oyetola ahead of the primary elections, which have been set for January 27th. And we just want to find out what motivated you to actually do that, considering the big battle that's in your party in Osun State, where you have Yusuf Lasun and the other persons, including a former speaker in the state there, standing against Governor Oyetola alongside the big masquerade, Rauf Aregbesola.
I think first and foremost, we must not reduce issue of party politics to issue of personal differences of individuals, no matter how highly placed. Our political party is an organization, an institution for purpose of accessing, power. And I would say that even within political parties, there are different, shades of opinion and contestation for power. So what is happening in Osun is a possible contestation of power by, different groups. And that's why the party did not say automatically anybody will pick the ticket of the party. It has been thrown open. If those people that you call that they are opposed to the governor, they can also collect form. In this, one of them has collected form, and we still look towards any other person that want to collect form against Governor Oyetola. It's part of democratic process. But what I know is that today the party structure is entirely solidly behind the re-election of Governor Oyetola.
So while we're having Senator Abdullah Adamu, your colleague, being sent by the APC to reconcile members in the state?
Anybody can come. You see, that's why I said you can always come to reconcile. But at the reconciliation meeting that was called, that I attended, you have in that place members of the National Assembly, all of us. You have 23 members, that's 100% members of the House of Assembly. You have the entire cabinet. Then you have leadership of the party in the 9th federal constituency, and the leadership of the Egbe Igbimagba attending to say that the party is all united, cohesive, and supporting the re-election of Governor Oyetola. Of course, there are rooms for dissension in any political organization, and we are not quarreling with anybody for them to have preference. So we are looking towards a contest, democratic contest for the primary, and the people in the party will decide who will fly the ticket. Nobody is cumbered from doing so.
Aren't you afraid that this caucus within your party that's known as the Osun Progressives, or TOP, that's led by Rauf Aregbesola, has a capability to actually stop Governor Oyetola from returning to the seat of power?
I've repeatedly said, I don't believe my leader, Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, is the leader of TOP. He has never attended any of that function. Certain individuals who believe that they are not getting what I would call their share of governance are the ones that are just trying to read red herring where there's none. But the truth is that you ask yourself, you can investigate, ask Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, our leader, has he ever attended any of that program? Then secondly, too, the politics is about people. It's about structure. What I've told you is that when you look at the structure that is on ground in the state of Osun, there's no doubt that the aspirant to beat in our party is APC, and in the overall election, the candidate to beat is Oyetola. So there's no doubt about it at all. If
Oyetola was that popular, how come he needed an Omishori in the last elections to be able to garner lots of votes?
I don't agree with you. I think, you see, you are not a politician, and with respect, I would say you are not even a political watcher. Yes, our 2018 election was a tough one for us, but there are a lot of factors. It has nothing to do with Oyetola alone. You knew our state was in serious challenge. We had series of industrial crises. We have issues, of defection of few elements of our party. We also have issue of sabotage of certain elements with our party.
That's the
barometer to now measure our party is not 2018. We have had another election in 2019, which was superintended by the governor Oyetola. And what was the result of that election? Our president won in Osun.
That was a very large election. We're talking about the governorship election.
No, you can't continue. Election political processes does not stagnate. And you can't. Osun politics has not stagnated since 2018. We have election in 2019. House of Assembly, out of 26, my party APC won 23. What percentage is that? Out of 9 House of Representatives, we won 6. Out of 3 senatorial districts, we won 2 with large margin. In Osun Central alone, we won with close to 30,000 margin from 10 local governments. So this is the indices you are looking.
A lot of people attribute that to the intervention of Ajibola Tinubu in that state.
Are you saying in 2018?
Saying that his impact alone was able to galvanize the support for President Buhari and your party to do that, not necessarily because of Governor Oyetola himself?
You see, even 2018, are you saying we are doing any politics in Southwest that our leader, our daddy is not involved? So don't go there. What I'm telling you is that the question is that who led the structure of our party in that state? Baba Wabisi Akonde was there, our leader, and Governor Oyetola. So it's not a question of saying, reducing that the impact of our party. Today, the party to beat, based on the statistics I've told you, 2 senators, 6 House of Representatives out of 9, 23 of 26. That's democratic contest. So in terms of being on ground today, forget it. APC is the party to beat.
Well, APC is the party to beat, but you have
and of course the candidate to beat is Governor Oyetola.
Okay, well, I won't allow you go because we're trying to finish this conversation without asking about your views on the declaration by Ajibola Tinubu of his intention to contest the presidential ticket of the APC. What are his chances of emerging the APC candidate in 2023?
I think your question itself is making an assumption that there is any other credible, acceptable politician in the APC that can contest the ticket of the APC with
well, there are so many. There are so many people who have indicated interest.
In politics, even somebody who cannot be a councillor can say that he wants to be president of Nigeria. Today, and I say it with all sense of responsibility, the person that has the reach nationally, that has the structure to be able to galvanize our party to victory the APC. The greatest mistake that our party can make is not to feed Asiwaju Ahmed Tinubu for the 2023 election.
Are you saying that Osinbajo is not a factor?
I don't think Osinbajo is contesting election. He has not told us he's contesting.
And neither has he not said that he won't contest.
You don't need, you see, context. You can also say that I've not said I want to contest for president, and therefore I want to contest. Election is a positive process. You must come out to do so. So I cannot engage in hypothetical analysis of the chances of somebody who has not shown or manifestly declared an intention. The person that has shown intention that I know, and I know his pedigree, I know what he has invested in the policy of the country, is actually Ajibola Bashiru. And I don't have any doubt that no person has the reach and the acceptability that he has within the firmament of the Nigerian political structure. And
just before we go, why is your party finding it very difficult to hold a national convention? It's been shifted, the governors are intervening, party members are shouting. Why is APC seeming undemocratic?
The fact that convention had not been held does not mean we are seeming undemocratic. We already have our structure at the world level, at the local government level, at the state level. At the unit level, we're also working on that one. So we are a democratic political party.
Okay, very interesting indeed. We must thank you, Senator Ajibola Bashiru, for joining us to take a look at critical national issues that the National Assembly prepares to resume. Specifically, you've spoken about the Senate, which you are the spokesman, and then, of course, the local politics in Osun State. We must thank you for joining us on the show.